Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
May you tell me about yourself?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Aime Valentin. I'm a student at Kepler University, which has partnership with Southern New Hampshire University through a program called College for America. And I'm currently working on my Associate of Arts degree in General Business Studies. Thank you.
Tell me about your work experience.
Well, when I finished my high school studies, I had a chance to join ICT center because I had a certificate in IT trainings. So I joined this Rambura ICT center where I was working as a service provider, and some of my responsibility that on that job was to provide internet services, printing services, and photo services and multimedia services to the people around there in that village of Rambura. So while working on this kind of job as a service provider, I faced different challenges, but also I gained different skills. Some of the skills that I gained on that job was I was able to gain the skills of working as a team. I had a team whom we were working together in order to make sure that this ICT center had great impact in this village. So as a team, I knew that uh, before joining this job, I knew that working independently is always good more than working as a team. But I came to see that when you work as a team, it is better and you can achieve more things more than working as an individual. So teamwork spirit is one skills that I gained on that job, and also I gained the skills of working under pressure. So if I say working under pressure, you understand that I was working as a service provider, and many people or like um, there are many schools around Rambura ICT Center, so maybe they could bring um, many books or many papers to be printed, and they could give me a deadline of maybe of 3 or 4 hours. So I had to make sure that it is done because I had to make sure that this ICT center had great impact, and its customers would have to be willing to come again and again to be served on this ICT center. So I gained these skills of working under pressure, working to manage stress in order to be sure that the work is going well and the customers are satisfied with the services you are providing. So one of the challenge that I faced on this job was that um, the workplace and my home place there was like a very long distance, so it had to take me more than 3 hours in order to leave my home and get to the workplace. So, but later my brother lent me a bicycle, which I was sometimes using in order to go from home up to the workplace. Thank you very much.
Describe a time you worked well as a team.
The time I worked well as a team, I remember it was in 2016 December when we had a benchmark at Kepler. On this benchmark, we had to form a group of 5 people, and each group would have to be given a challenge to work on in order to find solution for that challenge. So my group had the challenge of housing in Kigali City, and then um, my group, the group which was I was assigned to, chose me to be the group leader, which was something that surprised me because all of the members of this group had the potentials of being like group leaders. So they chose me to be group leader, and I accepted it in order to make sure that the group is going to be working well. So, like my task on this group was to make sure that all of my group members would have to be given CFA project because this benchmark was like an assessment for seeing or for evaluating students to be eligible for enrolling in CFA. So as a group leader, then I had that responsibility and that homework in order to make sure that everyone got a chance to be chosen to enroll in CFA and CFA. So in order to work as a team to achieve our goal, we had to first of all to understand what we were supposed to do. So we we read the overview and directions of the of the benchmark, and then after reading them and understanding them, we tried to brainstorm different tasks that we had to accomplish in order to make sure that our group will achieve its goals. So we brainstormed the task, and everyone chose the task that he or she was comfortable with. And then after choosing the task, the remaining we try to assign to everyone depending on the schedule that everyone had. And then after choosing the task, then we scheduled, we determined the schedule that we had to work on. And then after the schedule, we developed the communication plan where we had maybe to create a hangout group, a WhatsApp group in order to ease the communication between us. And then after that, we came to to the end of the benchmark where we had to turn in or to submit the deliverables. And I had to make a written report, and one of my colleagues had to make a PowerPoint presentation, and others would have to make a research about that topic. So one day before the submission deadline, the one who had to make the PowerPoint presentation got sick. And when he got sick, the responsibilities to make sure to turn in or to submit the deliverables had to fall on me because I was the group leader. Then I tried to seek help or to seek support from the other group members because I wasn't done with written report, but others refused to help me. So if when they refused to help me, then I had to do it. And then I make the proper presentation and the written report, and then we presented for the second the day, the next day we presented. And after the presentation, actually we made it as a group because every one of us had been given the CFA project. But when we were evaluating ourselves, one thing made me happy, which was uh, most of my group members, they blamed themselves for not helping me in that hard moment where I had to make the PowerPoint presentation and the written report at the same time. So they evaluate themselves when we was looking at something that went wrong, or something didn't which we didn't work on well. So the group members blame themselves for this, and they say they will never do that again for when they are selected in the other group. So thank you.
Tell me about a time when you had too many things to do and had to prioritize your task.
Um, Thank you very much for that question. I remember while working on as a service provider on that Arambura ICT center, I had one day. It was one Saturday when one director of one school at Rambura bring me a 100-page book to be printed, and he gave me a deadline of 2 hours. And then while I was printing, another one came with two books to be photocopied. And then he gave me also the deadline of 3 hours. So, and on that Saturday, I had to attend the birthday party of one of my closest friends. So you understand that I have two things for the work and one other thing for my personal life. So in order to prioritize these tasks, I prioritize them according to their level of emergency and their level of urgency. So both works of both work of those directors, the one to be photocopied and the one to be printed, they was very important and very urgent because they were, if I couldn't be able print them or to photocopy them, those were the customers for Rambura ICT Center, so they can maybe they could refuse to come again. So those I prioritize those as the most urgent and the most important task for me to accomplish. But the birthday party, I thought it as a party that couldn't make me break up with my friend because I didn't attend the party. So though it was urgent, but it wasn't that much important for me comparing to those other two tasks. So I had to make sure that I did well those two tasks, which was printing that 100-page book and photocopying those other two books of those directors who were the customers of this Rambura ICT Center. And I skipped this birthday party and after the next day, I excused myself to that friend of mine and I explained him the situation and they came to understand it. Yeah, thank you.
Tell me about a time when you had to go above and beyond the core of duty. How did you handle the situation?
Thank you. Well, when I finished my high school studies, we as the high school graduates, we had to attend different volunteer activities in our villages. So I was the representative of this high school graduate at Rambura sector. And then the secretary executive of Rambura sector told us that we had to come to work on those volunteer activities every day from Monday up to Friday, and from 8 a.m. up to 3 p.m. So for the first 3 weeks of the month, it was in February 2016, we tried to apply or to practice what this secretary executive had told us. But after 3 weeks, some of my colleagues, some of my friends who were volunteering together, they started to tell me that this it couldn't work because we spent a lot of time volunteering and we are losing time for our parents and for our families. So some of them started to skip these volunteer activities. So when I tried to reach out to this secretary executive, he refused to change the schedule. And when he refused, I also wasn't getting well. How come could I spend all 5 days at volunteering without doing something at home? So for the next week, I told my colleagues whom I was representative of, I told them not to come in the next week any day. I told them not to come, to stay home, and I will go on the sector me alone. So for the next Monday, they didn't come, and the next Tuesday they didn't come. When they didn't come, the secretary executive called me and asked me what happened. So when he asked me that, I told him the situation, and he asked me to go on the sector and discuss about the issue. So I went there on the sector and I tried to convince him about the fact that our families and our parents, they needed us. They needed us to do something at home, something productive, instead of spending the whole week volunteering and going home tired. And when you go home tired, you can't do nothing. So I didn't know how I took that decision of telling my colleagues not to come. It was beyond my duty, but I did it in order to make sure that the secretary executive understood our concern. So through our discussions, I tried to convince him, and he agreed to give us at least 2 days in the week. So we had to go on volunteer activities on Monday, Wednesday, and then only on Friday. Yeah, thank you.
Tell me about time when you worked effectively under pressure.
Thank you for that good question. Um, at Kepler University, I'm working as an assistant of academic campus director for College for America and Careers. And I remember in February it was 20th February this year. I was also working as data entry clerics, where I had the responsibilities or the task of entering um, the paper applications of refugees into the student information system to be so that these applications would have to be um, reviewed and graded. So I was working as data entry clerics and as an assistant of a campus academic campus director in charge of CFA and careers, and also I had to study. So you understand that I had like three tasks which I had to to manage in effective way in order to make sure that I I worked well on all of those tasks. So one day I had to finish um, 30 applications, and then the academic campus director sent me a spreadsheet to be filled on that same day. And also on that day we were on Friday. It was on Friday where I had an assignment of technology. So I had to make sure that maybe I did it well on all of those tasks, but actually I wasn't a machine, or I couldn't do it all the three tasks, because the applications to enter the application in the SIS, it was kind of tiresome task, and also to fill in this spreadsheet, it was tiresome, and also I had to make sure that I submitted the the, 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 um, the assignment on time. So what I do most of the time when I'm under pressure, I actually take a break. I took a break of 5 minutes to in order to understand how I'm going to manage all those tasks. So in the break, I try to meditate and to come up with the best solution for this tasks. So I asked from after 5 minutes, I asked campus director to extend the deadline and put the deadline on the next day, so that maybe at least two tasks a day to complete the assignment and to complete the the application in the SIS. Maybe I could do it in one day, but I couldn't do it in again do the work for a campus director. So I asked him honestly. I sent him an email explaining how the situation is, and he actually understood me, and then he extended the deadline for the next day, and then I worked on those applications, and the assignment I submitted the assignment on time, which was a good thing for me. Thank you.
Give me an example of time when you showed initiative.
Thank you. The time when I showed initiative, I remember it was last year. I have actually at home we are five: me, my brother, my sister, and my mother. And my father, who is not around at home because he was in prison since 2008. And then actually my mother is the only one who is contributing something to home income. So my sister had to go in a secondary school, and we had to find a school fees for her because she couldn't go at school with that school fees. And then when I was here at Kepler, where I get at least 20,000 Rwandan francs, and my brother is in university. He's about to finish his bachelor degree in civil engineering, but he's not contributing something to home income. Only my mother, who is a primary school teacher, is the only one who is contributing something. But also that something that she's contributing is 80,000 Rwandan francs, which is actually the school fees for my sister for only one time. And we also had to eat, we also had to have clothes, all those kind of basic expenses, basic needs for running the home. So one initiative that I took in order to make sure that at least my sister gets the school fees, and we cover different needs at home. I agreed to contribute at least 30,000 in 3 months for 3 month term of my sister. That means if I take 20k 20,000 Rwandan francs as stipend at Kepler, I had to contribute at least a half of my stipend in order to be able to contribute 30,000 30,000 Rwandan francs for the 3 months term of my sister in secondary. So I had to contribute 30,000, and my mother had to contribute 50,000 Rwandan francs in order to contribute all 80,000 Rwandan francs for as a school fees for my sister. And then it was my idea because actually my mother didn't want me to contribute, but I actually see how she was overloaded with these expenses and at home, yet I was getting something at Kepler. So I took this initiative of contributing to my family in order to make sure that my sister got the school fees, and we also had to cover different expenses at home. Yeah, thank you.
Is there anything else you would like to know about it?
Of course, there's actually there are many things that I would like you to know about me, but one thing that I would like you to know about me is that um, many people do different things when they are enjoying or when they are relaxing or when they are having a break. Because we are not machines. We are not we with the people, with the humans, we need a break in order to increase our productivity. So while increasing our productivity, then we had to relax. So one thing that I would like to tell you one thing that I do when I'm relaxing. So that is, I play piano. I play piano, or when I'm not playing piano, I pray uh, kung fu, or martial arts. So these are two things that most of the time make me happy or make me relaxing when maybe when I get many things and I want to have relaxation, so I can go to play piano or in martial arts. Those are two things that I would like you to know about me. And I knew about playing piano from my high school studies, where I studied in a minor seminary and I took different elective classes of music, and I got a chance to know how to play piano. So those are two things that I would like you to know about me, the things that I do when I'm relaxing or when I'm making people relax. Because when you are playing piano, you can make other people, maybe when you are on workplace and you are in a relaxation time, so you can help others to relax while playing for them this piano. Thank you very much.
Thank you.